Welcome to Technical Leadership Talks, the podcast that brings you advice, insights, and knowledge from industry leaders and experts on how to navigate managing in the technical field. Technical Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management, an online graduate program that trains industry professionals for leadership positions. I'm Katie, METM's digital marketer and your host for this episode. In today's episode, we are featuring Rafael Patron, the Plant Senior Director at Tenaris. The audio you will hear is from Texas A&M's Master of Engineering Technical Management's Executive Leadership Speaker Series. At this series, Rafael spoke to METM students, faculty, and staff about his leadership journey and provided insights and advice to help guide students as they navigate their current and future leadership roles.
What are we going to be talking about? Here we go. This is what we're going to talk about.
Rafael refers to his first presentation slide, which lists the 5 topics that he will cover: leadership philosophy, team dynamics, navigating challenges, innovation and change, personal growth and development. The first topic he will cover in this section is leadership philosophy.
Why those 5 topics? Because do you believe that leadership can be a matter of style? Am I going to be the same leader as you will or she will? No, right? Why not? Because we have different values, different heritages. We have, one might have a sense of humor, another one might be a little more serious, right? One is an introvert, the other one is not, and that's all fine. All of us can succeed as leaders, keeping our personalities. But the interesting thing that I found along my career is that although we have all these different leadership styles, there are some core things that don't change if you really want to succeed as a leader, right? So let's talk about this then, leadership philosophy, right? There is no leader that is going to have the privilege not to deal with the dynamics of the team. It's there, it's job description, right? And with the dynamics will come challenges. It could be from the business, but the biggest challenges are really leading the group that you're leading, right? Also, there's no way for us to get stuck. Right? We need to keep moving on. So innovation, change is also mission of any leader. It doesn't matter what kind of a style that leader has, right? And in the end, we can only do that if we keep upgrading ourselves, right? Because you know what? I deal with people that are fresh out of college to people that are older than me, and they're all different. So if I don't adapt, if I don't know what the new generations are expecting when they come to the workforce, I'm going to fail, and you will do the same thing, right? So these are the things that we're going to talk about. So let's talk about the first one then. Leadership philosophy. What do you think? Is a privilege to be a leader, or is just a lot of extra responsibility? It's both, right? The problem that I have seen in my career is that the leaders that focus more on, do I have a corner office? Am I going to have a company car? Right? Is my cell phone better than everybody else's? Right? You have iPhone 14, right? Mine is 16, right? So it's those symbols of power, right? Well, where do you park? In the parking lot? Well, I park right here, right? When that is really the focus, the likelihood of the leader not being a good one, what do you think it is? Very high, right? But on the other way, right? If that leader, yeah, it's okay, right? The perks are nice. Who doesn't like it, right? But they are not the fundamentals. You don't work to become a leader to get the parking spot, right? Or a better phone, right? The whole thing is about understanding that you are responsible for the destiny of other people. It sounds like, oh my God, Rafael, you're going too far. No, you know what? The moment that you promote a person, you're changing that person's life. Is more money, is what I can do, what they can do with the kids, with the husband, right? You guys know it, right? And in the moment that you terminate somebody, is even worse. So there's a lot of responsibility on it, right? And we have to make sure we use it right, correct? Treat others like you would like to be treated. How basic is that? Do we need to come to the best university in the state, in one of the best in the country, to learn this? We should know this from the moment we are being raised by our parents, right? And I'm sure there's not a problem in this room. But have you seen people out there feeling special and not treating people like they want to be treated just because they are in a position of power? You see this when people are not even leaders, right? And some of them make it. So there's something fundamentally wrong. But you know what? These are the things, guys, you know what? It's so basic that sometimes we don't pay attention, but it goes a long way with the team that you work with. I don't like to say that, no, the team that work for me. It's the opposite. I work for them. I facilitate their lives. I help them to develop, to grow, right? So what is my challenge? What is our challenge as leaders? Provide clarity. Do you work in companies? By the way, how many here are working and how many are just studying? Raise your hand if you're working and studying at the same time. Majority, right? Okay. And just studying? Not just studying, because studying is as demanding as work, right? Okay, majority of people are working. One thing that we're going to touch, I just need to understand the audience. I would like to say that there are here 3 groups. The groups that, I work, but I don't want to be a leader. You don't need to raise your hand, right? Another group that I'm working and I want to be a leader and I want to keep growing as a leader. And the people that are not sure. I'm not sure. This is something that we need to talk very seriously about, because it's probably one of the most important professional decisions we're going to make, right? If we want to do this right, if we are not concerned about the perks, right? We're going to get there. But for the ones that decide to be a leader and want to do things right, this is what we need to do. Provide clarity, right? Most of us are working. Do you work for a company that has more resources and can do everything that comes? That's impossible. This doesn't exist anymore, right? Everything is scarce. You have more things that we can do. You have to prioritize. So our first role as leaders is to create that clarity. What is a must-have versus a nice-to-have? Telling your people to have the courage to say no for things that are nice-to-haves, unless all the must-haves are taken care of, right? This is our responsibility, because people get confused, right? And if you let them do it, likelihood that they will be confused is very high. So it starts with clarity. You need to understand what is expected from you, right? Normally, all of us have bosses. Even the CEOs have bosses, which is the board of directors, right? So you have to understand, okay, what is the definition of success for me, right? For us, for my team. And then you translate that into a simple to understand way to this guys. In my opinion, this is just my experience, right? I am one of those that pay a lot of attention to the people, right? I go to meetings at times and I go and leave quiet. All I'm checking is that who is leading, what's the behavior, is this respectful, right? And more often than not, I get really enchanted by young people showing very early signs of leadership. Then what do? You identify the potential and then you throw some challenges in a controlled way. You don't want to be too bad, right? Because you can burn somebody if you throw too many challenges for a junior professional. You got to be careful if you really want to nurture that person well. But you have to observe always, all the time, and then identify the ones with potential. Give them challenges, but talk to them.
At this point in the presentation, a student asks about being unsure about a topic or solution and how you can help as a leader.
100%. 100%. Right? It's absolutely okay to be in a meeting and say, I don't know. A lot of people still feel that because you're a leader, yeah, of course, there's always a follow. Or I'm going to get surrounded by people that together we're gonna know, we're gonna learn. Right? There's absolutely no. Actually, it's more powerful because the moment that your team sees that on you, they will first behave the same. Because how many people don't feel intimidated to say to them, I don't know? If you say it, you're opening the door for people to be honest. And then the magic starts. Right? I don't know. It's not a problem for me to say that I don't know. Absolutely. So, but maybe Mary Jo knows. And then we learn from each other, which somewhere here, I believe I have it, it helps breaking silos. Because if everybody needs to know everything and they need to be the best on everything, do you believe they will work together? No, there will be competition. So it starts exactly with what you said. Be humble all the time. Show that, but be authentic. You cannot just fake it because we all know, right? You guys have bosses. You had more than one by now, I would assume. And we all can smell who is really authentic and who is just faking it. So, okay, let's do it for the right reason, right? But you're absolutely right. So I don't know if I finished yours. So identify, give that person challenges, this is a tip that I do, right? It's just me. I like to give a lot of challenges that people have a chance to succeed, but I like to give one the person will fail. Because I'm also very interested on how the person will behave when the failure comes. And that is probably the best time to coach, right? Because everybody wants to win, no? And if you win all the time and you keep going up, What if you lose and fail when you're in a position where you have to manage others? It's going to be a disaster. So you have to do that in the beginning. Right? It's almost like we do with the kids. Right? Okay, let's ride a bike. Go, go, go. You have to have that little controlled environment where the kid is going to fall, it's going to be on grass. You do that. Oh, see what happens? It's the exact same story. Actually, all of us have to be leaderships in life, because for the ones that have kids, at least, right? Because it's part of parenthood is a leadership exercise, right?
Rafael switches slides and moves on to the next topic of team dynamics.
Les mentioned this morning in one of his lives, right? Surround yourself with good people. That is key, right? It goes back to your point of being humble, right? No, everybody in my team is I'm A and they are B's, right? And that's come on, that's too much. You have to have, because not everybody is good at everything. So you have to have a bunch of people that complement each other, which, by the way, will help on the side of thing. Because, it's like a soccer team, right? You have somebody that will score the goal, but you don't score the goal if the defense doesn't keep the guys far from our goalie, right? So it's this thing, you have to do it. And by surrounding yourself with good people, it's just so much simpler. But there's something coming in the next slide that is very tricky, and I want your opinion on that one. So once you have this, create the clarity, get good people, empower them, let them go, right? Watch, go to meetings quiet. If you feel that the meeting is going well, leave. This is a quick tip that I learned from somebody, and I'm repeating, and it's so powerful. You go to a meeting, the meeting is happening, you're not there, right? Even if everything is going well, you're a good leader, the team is working well. When you come to the meeting, okay, feel it, right? Okay, he's here, this might be important, he or she's here. Then you stay quiet. And if you feel the meeting is going so well, you just stand up, don't say a word, smile and leave. They will love it. Because they feel that he came, in this case is my case, right? I do it often. He came, check it, didn't say a single word and laugh, we must be doing something right. You don't need to say a single word. You come with your coffee, right? Watch, look at the slides, look at what the guys are talking about, smile a little bit, right? Give them positive reinforcement, leave. You know what? They will accomplish whatever they are working on, right? Anyway, it's part of the empowering. But they will struggle. Some will struggle along the way. And what do? You support them, right? You share what you know. If knowledge is an issue, send them to a good school, right? Put them in contact with a mentor, right? Maybe give a different project that will help coming back a little stronger. But you need to be there. And you can only do all those things, that comes back full circle, if you're paying attention. If you're not just sitting in the corner office with your door shut, just doing those endless meetings that you really don't need to be there, right? You have to be courageous as a leader as well, right? To spend that time on your people and not get sucked by the bureaucracy, right? So you know this, and you have your team. Do you think that the team dynamics is easy to deal with? No, it's not. Well, here's the thing. We talked about this, right? All these things, I'm also a typical engineer. I like sequence, I like logic, and all these things kind of follow a sequence, right? Unite the team around the purpose. We talk about this. We cannot have silos, right? It's right there. Break down the silos. I have seen teams of A players. A players mean they are the best of the rest. Fail. It's not a teamwork. It's an ego battle, right? You got to be careful of that. So obviously, you want to be surrounded by very good people. But sometimes, more often than not, just have the best of the best in every position could be more trouble than being careful in balancing the guys that are rock stars, and love to try, like to do the new things, and the solid contributors. There's value in that, right? And one more thing, since the challenges are different and people are different, you can have a bunch of A's, but there is a project where she will be the A because that's where her competence is more important to lead the project. In the next one, she might be the A and she takes the place of being a B, right? But if this is clear and doesn't make her feel that, oh, okay, I don't lead all the time, why is that? Then you start creating that situation where both of them can work together. What you cannot do is that every project that comes, you give it to her, because then you start destroying the idea of having a cohesive team. Make sense what I'm saying? Happens often, right? And the worst situation is what she just said, right? You have to terminate people, right? This friction amongst players is real. right? And again, if you're not paying attention, no, let them do this thing. If they were able to do it, you wouldn't have a problem. So you have to pay attention, be with them. It goes together with empowering and supporting. You have to walk. This is the key part, right? Strong teams are built on connection. Putting strangers work side by side might work, right? But not for too long, right? And not for very challenging situations, right? One thing that I did not say, but I hope you read, is that I spent 7 years of my life in the military school. In Brazil, we have 7 military schools. We are not active with our military like the US is, but they still have military schools where in the past, when I used to go, was just boys. Now, luckily, finally, they are more modern and anybody can go. But in my day, was boys. And 7 schools was very difficult to get in. I was lucky enough to get in one of them. But here's the message. We spent 7 years together, the whole time. So when I left Brazil, we had, and this was 20 some years ago, this is when WhatsApp started to pop up, right? We created this WhatsApp group. There's some of the guys that are there that I haven't seen for 30 years. But we support each other like crazy. Right? There's one specific case that it's a real story. It gives me, I get emotional about it. So this is one of those that didn't do well. Right? A lot of them are engineers, doctors, you name it, right? All good professions, have good family. One of them specifically didn't do well. He's been struggling. And I think it was 2 Christmas ago, and he's not in the WhatsApp. Here's how bad it is because he doesn't even have a cell phone. Right? So we actually, everybody chimed in with money. And one of the guys that was there in Brazil went to knock on his door for Christmas and gave him the cash. And the guy was just crying because that is the only reason why he was able to have food on the table and presents for his 2 kids. Right? Why am I saying this? Because this is, well, now 30 years, 27 years without seeing the guy, most of us. And there's that sense of unity that I have your back, right? It doesn't matter what happens. And this is very common in the military because that is the extreme situation, right? You go to war and we're going to go there, open the door, and you know what? I'll leave you alone and I'll come back later. Doesn't work, right? Your life was on somebody else's hand, right? You have to rely on that. That's why this, in my humble opinion, these ties in the military are so strong, but not necessarily on the regular, let's say, professional life, right? Because it's a job, I can get another one. But that, in my opinion, is what I try to, is what I'm looking for, right? Maybe we're not going to get to that level, but we want to create a team that when you're not around, and even if you are around, they will help each other. Hey, I'm struggling here. Can you cover for me? Right? I don't know what this is. Can you teach me? This is so important because, again, that's the beauty of this picture, right? If each one of the team members understand their part, think about this as one piece of the puzzle. Have 4 members there. Right? But if they don't know where their piece fits in the entire puzzle, it's much different. Right? Actually, there are studies where you give the same puzzle to 2 groups of people. They did this research. Okay, I'll give to this group here, I will give the exact same puzzle with the box, right? And this one, I'll give the exact same puzzle without the box. What is the benefit you guys have? You can see the picture. And when you start organizing who is going to build the puzzle fast? Because they have a guideline, they know, this is a corner piece. Well, corner piece is easy. But if you do it in the center, I don't have an idea when it goes. If you know the picture, it's blue, it's more or less here. And those guys are there scratching their heads and you guys are done. This is a leadership exercise. Every team player is a piece of the puzzle. You leave them alone to figure out what they need to do. Luckily, they will achieve the goal, but a lot later. Then the other ones, they'll say, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. This is how these things connect. This is what we are looking for. The end goal is this. Go, shine. If you need help, I'm here. That's what this is the fundamental thing about team dynamics. They need to understand that they are a piece of the entire puzzle. And like I said before, there's times for one to have the most important piece and the other one to be just a piece that is a support piece, right? Okay, let's keep going.
Rafael moves on to his 3rd topic, navigating challenges.
By now, we are all talking about challenges, right? Because it's difficult to have a team that is so good, Sometimes you build one and you enjoy it for a while. But if you do that, what's going to happen to you if you build winning teams, good teams, high performance teams? Oh, if you can do that with this one, I'm give you this dysfunctional one, right? And then you go, let me enjoy a couple of years of right. No. They are fine, right? And so you're gonna keep going. It goes back to what Liz said on the fingerprints, right? So your fingerprint is there. Now it's time to put your fingerprint in another group, right? Because if you can do that, you're a good leader. And there's a lot of need for good leaders out there, as you know. There's good ones out there, but not enough, right? So then you move on. So if the next one coming to that group doesn't destroy what was built, okay, things get better. It happens sometimes, eh? But you're gonna keep moving on, right? And you're gonna deal with challenges again, right? And you keep going on and on. Maybe your groups will be bigger, right? Or maybe you're gonna go up in the hierarchy, and instead of dealing with supervisors, now you're dealing with managers, and then you keep doing things well. You're dealing with directors. Do you think that gets easier when we get to deal with directors instead of dealing with managers? What do you think? What do you think? Why is that? Anybody disagrees? It could be. It could be. Because what happened is that, and goes, everything is related, right? When you start getting the successes and you keep growing up, you start to believe that, oh, I know it all. Right? Oh, no, I fixed 2 teams now. The third one is going to be easy. Right? And then somebody said, no, what about that? No, I got it. Don't worry. You start losing what? What you said in the beginning. The humbleness. It just goes away. And this is the recipe for failure in every case, but specifically on leaders, right? But very, very, very often this happens. When you get to a VP, then, oh my God. If you're the CEO, I'm just generalizing. Of course, they're good, very good people that change companies, but there are bad ones as well. So we need to be smart enough, right, to learn from both. And that's a lot of times discussions that I have with my friends at work, because they want to be coached by somebody. First, it's not about being coached, right? Don't be a victim, right? Take charge. Do it for yourself, right? Nobody needs to hold your hand. Observe. This is what I call passive coaching, right? The coach is not talking to you, but you're observing how that's a good leader. Okay, right? But don't focus. This is a bad one. These are the things that I don't want to do. There's value in both, and we need to observe that. Well, the challenges. All of us are somehow technicians, right? I understand. There's an engineering technician group of people, correct? So we are by nature more wired to be on the hard skill, and we really don't look much of on the soft skills. But so honestly, if you don't remember what a triple integral is, you go back to the books. It might take a while, but you're gonna know it, because those things don't change, right? If you know the laws of, you forget the laws of physics, you go back to the book and they are there. As far as I know, they didn't change yet, right? So you learn it. But on the people side, well, I'm telling you what I know for sure from my experience. If I keep leading and supporting the people that I'm getting out of college now the same way I used to do 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm not going to succeed. Because I'm going to use an extreme, my sound, maybe it's not politically correct, but I'm going to use it anyway. So I'm interviewing a new engineer, right? He or she is going to work on supply chain and say, okay, all right, you have any questions? Yeah. What is your work from home policy? And then, but here's the thing, right? Then I old as I am, I don't get angry. I finish and explain, and then I use the HR manager that works that we work together there. She's super good. I said, Davey, let's just talk. I need to manage my emotions on this one. I said, well, that's the new reality. It is what it is. We might not be able to hire anybody if we don't get at least a 4-to-1. So I have to deal with that, because for me is that when I was interviewing is that, okay, can I come on Sunday? Right? Can I come on Sunday to learn when the machines are down? I want to put them, or disassemble them. Now I say, okay, I want to be one day at home, and primarily Fridays, right? So I can get angry, but it's not going to change anything. So you need to adapt. So that's the whole thing about the challenge for me is really about the people. Another one that is inevitable is that you get frustrated. So frustration is absolutely inevitable, but we need to make sure we manage that well, right? So, because again, people are watching us and they will mimic us, good or bad. Because if you, right, you know this, right? In some companies, if the culture is that command and control, the people who believe that if I manage command and control, that's my passport for the C-suite. Anyway, so it's inevitable. An important part of being a manager is to make well, we talked about clarity before, right? The consequences of not doing what you're supposed to do. Because a lot of people have that entitlement feeling that it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to retire in this company. And that is poison to the culture, right? You have to have that uncomfortable situation. Mary, John, we have to find a way to either get you back to the performance that is expected from you at this job, or put you in a job that this performance will be okay. Because it's not about terminating people all the time, eh? Sometimes it's just a good person in the wrong job. You also have to identify that, you know what, and this can change. But it goes back to the big, you have to observe, you have to talk, ask the deep questions, and make the expectations clear. Listen, we cannot keep going with this, right? Because the performance that I need from you is this. If you don't deliver, somebody has to, but you have to, in the beginning, to relieve a little bit the fear. Oh, what are you saying? I'm going to be fired. No, we need to make sure that we first try our best. If it doesn't work, the second option is find the job that matches the performance level. But you need to be careful and say, listen, if option A and option B don't work, we might need to do option C. That might be enough for the motivation for the person to pick up the pace. Does that make sense? Good to hear. If you like the concept, Google it, a book called Dare to Care. You know that? It's a good book, right? Okay, things are making sense, eh? You need to understand how you work as a leader. Then you get your team. Your team will be challenging. You will have to deal with the frustration, right? You have to navigate through this, right? You need to bring change. If for no reason, it's because things keep moving, no matter what, right? The team, remember, the team might be awesome. What he said about one person is the exact same thing for the team. Oh, my team is great now. Well, the same team that I have now, I've been in that plant for 5 years, right? If we didn't do anything to keep equipping the guys to do better, by now we would be failing. First, because the company is very demanding. And you guys know as much as I do, right? Now everybody thinks that ChatGPT is going to change the world, right? No, let's go there and check. You need to understand it's bigger than that. So we need to keep modernizing ourselves to make sure that we keep up, right? Dealing with people issues is complicated. Dealing with our own frustration is also very complicated. But dealing with unethical situations is probably times 10. So one thing that I want to use is the one that we were talking about yesterday. Imagine that a manager, right, your boss comes to you, and let's role play. So because I kind of knew this by instinct, but I got enlightened by Virginia yesterday when she said something that I never put in words. So let me try to role play, and I'm going to use her as the person that I lead, right? So let me put the context. We are a manufacturing facility, which is what I do. We have to send an order of 1,000 pipes to Chevron, right, for Les to be happy, right? And I realized that there are 10% of this 1,000 order pipe that is out of spec. It's end of the month, and I have to achieve my goal for tons. You're seeing what I'm building, right? So she's the operations manager. And then I go to her, I call her because I'm that kind of leader. I don't go. I manage from my corner. These things come together, eh? I'm in my corner office, overlooking my nice car, managing from a phone, right? This comes together. It's all these things in one package. Then I call her, hey, Virginia.
Hey, Raf.
Hey, listen, it's end of the month, right? We are 1,000 tons from our goal. It's end of the budget year. This will make us or break us. So you know that order X, Y, and Z 234 for Chevron?
Yes, I do.
Find a way to ship it.
Oh, it's not ready.
Virginia, I will repeat. Right. End of the budget year, right? My bonus, your bonus. This is it, right? Make it work. Don't tell me how, but make it work.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, what I hear you saying is that you want me to ship to Chevron a product that we already know is not.
No,
good.
never said that. No, never said. No, listen, I'll call you back. And by the way, I never had this conversation. No, big difference, no? So I've been trying to do, or luckily in my life, I had two situations, to be honest. Obviously, I'm not going to say names nor places, but I had two situations that were kind of unethical, and I moved away. Right? One, I called somebody there and I said, I need to get out of this department. Right? And the other one, I quit the company. Right? In quitting the company for a Brazilian with a wife that is an engineer but hasn't been working to make sure that I can work and do what I have to do with two kids, it's a big decision. I'm not doing this, but I'm just saying that you have to be serious about these things. Oh, no, this time, no, there's no this time. Right? You're either, this is very, for us engineers, is very digital. It's 1 or 0. There's nothing in the middle. We did the role play, right? Isn't it easy, much easier to do what you just said? Right? You just go back to it. You flip you bring the question back. Is that what you're telling me? That you want me to ship out of spec product? And 10 out of 10 times, right? What can happen, and I have seen it, to be honest, right? I'm old enough to see all these things, is that, okay, maybe there's a follow-up without a phone, right? With a little bit of intimidation. What do you think you did to me over the phone? Right? Well, am I afraid that the phone is being recorded or something like that? Right? And then you stand your ground, right? Okay, now that's exactly what I said. I'm not understanding your guidance, right? It's out of spec to Chevron, out of the door. And it doesn't matter if it's Chevron, right? That's a smaller customer, right? It doesn't matter, right? But this, I think, was a great learning, because sometimes we spend a lot of time reflecting on things and understanding the way you're going to go about it. But when she put in such a simple way, I said, well, that's why she's here and I'm not, right? Because it's a very intelligent way of flipping the situation and doing what is right. So that brings me to innovation and change.
At this point, Rafael switches his presentation slides to cover his next point, innovation and change.
Well, I should have said change and innovation, because not necessarily all change is innovation. You could do, I like to say, at least to my group, is that, okay, some things you fix with continuous improvement. Little tweaks here and there, right? Learning the best things that you did, repeating that. That is not that difficult. But some things need disruption. And disruption is, for me, equal to innovation, right? There's no way. Right? I think your first sentence there is that just believing that what we've been doing is okay and is going to continue to be okay it doesn't work. Assuming that, what brought me here is enough for me to retire with this company is a very, very silly mistake. Agree with me? By the way, that's the reason you're here, right? Because it doesn't look like, even though you all look good, that you came out fresh off college yesterday, right? So it's very easy to say, right? Oh, okay, I went to college once and, it's been 5 years, nothing has changed. No, you got to come back. I need to check the Texas A&M portfolio. Oh, they have this new course here. Just a topic that I need to learn about. Then come in and join. You have to keep doing those things, right? And again, we talked before, you get to a manager, get to a director, I might not need it anymore. If you get to a VP, no, I'm teaching, right? And that's just not right. So avoiding the change is not an issue. Engineers, are we in the sales business or not? How many of us engineers really take the, how do we say here in Texas, grab the bull by the horse? Is this good English? Horns, by the horse. No, horrible. Okay, let me stick to my plain and sophisticated English. Let's just take charge on this one, right? That's better, right? By the horse doesn't work, right? Okay, anyway. Man, I don't even know the first 2 words. But that is a song. Yeah, I remember that, right? It's a song. But anyway, a lot of us, I have seen it, right? And this is something, again, giving shortcuts, right? Maybe you guys know it, I'm sure you do, but if you don't, it's a good reminder. I have seen a lot of engineers, male, female, anything in between, just crying. He doesn't understand. He wants ROI. what the hell is that, right? Well, I don't have budget to do my thing. Don't be a victim, right? Don't be a victim, right? It's your project, it's your idea, right? For you, might be brilliant, but you're gonna get the obvious questions. What do we gain? What's in it for us? What's the cost? How long is it gonna take for me to get the return? Right? You're gonna do this plant-wide? Are you crazy? Right? No. I'm gonna do this in one area. It's a pilot, right? The money for a pilot is a fraction of the investment. So we're gonna test the concept, right? Start small. If we fail, okay, it's like a little bit of money there, but that's the price you pay to innovate. And then what if it goes well? Then you go back and say, okay, can we scale now? Maybe we're not gonna do the whole plant, but can we do half of it? Right? That's when you make your case. But just proposing unsophisticated proposal, right? Because a lot of times, and I deal with this myself, right? Because I luckily deal with younger engineers as well. Rafa, I have an idea, right? And then they explain, right? Dixie will relate to that because we talk about this many times over dinner, right? Oh, well, okay, 15 minutes because I'm patient. Right? I let them go because, again, I'm developing them. Eventually, I know they will fail, but I need to give them a chance, right? Halfway through the presentation, okay, how far are you? No, this is like 15 out of 30 slides, right? There's a problem, right? But anyway, there's another thing. We need to be concise. But what's the problem? What are we trying to solve? And then the guy looks at me, and he cannot articulate the problem statement, right? No, I thought that this is a good idea. Yeah, okay. Good ideas is what engineers do, right? But do we need it? Do we have other priorities, right? Why we're going to spend the money on this one if there's a good idea on an equipment that is running at 80% utilization, and we have another, your manufacturing looks like, right? I'm going to do an improvement to go from 80 to 82 when I have machines that are bottlenecks and are at 60, and I need an idea to go to 65. You and I are talking the same language, right? So, we see this all the time. So this is where I see a lot of changes, a lot of times, the lack of maturity, not necessarily only in junior engineers, is that, don't come prepared and then don't get what they want. And what do? They go to the coffee break, whine. I didn't get it. My ideas never go. Oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Or worse, this guy doesn't know. This Rafael has no clue in business. This is going to change the plant. On an 80% utilization machine, when we have another one that is 60. It's often, I see this often, right? Because I hear a lot, right? People that if they don't get what they want, instead of reflecting and say, okay, what did I miss? I didn't have my problem statement. My case was really not strong, right? Or maybe the idea is good. Happens a lot, eh? The idea is good, but I just have the company just has a certain budget, and I cannot get the fund. The fund has to go to other things because resources are limited. But there's no reflection. The first thing is, no, it's not my problem. That's childish. And that is playing what Dixie likes to call the victim, right? So don't be a victim, right? It's a big problem, big problem. You want to say something?
I'm interested in your perspective. You've covered the case of the engineer on the floor that has a suggestion.
Right.
They have to sell.
Yep.
You and your job, do you believe that you sell more, or do you get to use your positional power and force?
Oh, okay. I didn't see that last part coming. Well, here's the thing. What I tell to the guys, this is exactly what I tell to the guys. Well, first, let me answer your question in two different moments. The first sentence, well, do I think that I sell? I sell all the time. All the time. Right? It's kind of an interesting perspective, but that's the way I say it. And I teach the guys. Example, the guys from top come to me and say, you got to do this because X, Y, and Z. Obviously, I'm going to do everything that we are discussing. I'm going to ask all the questions, be convinced. And blah. Then what I need to do? I need to sell this to the team. Sometimes I need to sell this to my peers. Sometimes I need to sell this to the supplier. Right? From ideas to selling why, right? Convincing somebody is selling. Right? Convincing that, hey, you're not going to get the money for that project because this one is more important. I'm trying to convince him, but I'm selling an idea. So I'm selling all the time. And I think, to be honest, all of us are selling all the time. Right? Now, the second point. When do I enforce? Right? Because you know what? I would assume, because I like to think of myself of being a humble person. And what I tell the guys that, guys, I will pose the challenge to the group. I will explain the context and say, guys, this is where my mind is. And if you go to the plant area and you ask, they will repeat this exact words. Right? I say this all the time. This is what the challenge is. This is the context, right? Example, I have the challenge to improve this machine, blah, blah, blah. In my mind, we should put the money here, and that's why. That's my reasoning. Now, anybody has a different view, we're going to look at it. And the best idea will win, not mine. If we cannot come to an agreement, technically speaking, then I have to make the call because I am the one right now in that position. And then I say, guys, unfortunately, Mary has this position, and normally is a good rich debate if we cannot come to a conclusion. But here's the caveat. Because some guys, well, I think Les mentioned this morning, we disagree, but once we agree, we get out. It's the same idea, right? Same concept in a worse English, right? But it's, guys, this is it. The thing is that I really need you guys to do your best, and I'll be around. If it fails, I'll take the responsibility, right? Because then they'll say, okay, all right, he's at least being coherent. Okay, it's his decision. We don't support. If we fail, it's our problem. So if you're that consistent, no issues at all. And we have people like that. And again, things don't come in isolation, right? The example that he was saying, right? Normally the person is like, okay, the victim person mostly complain. But we should be doing this. How many are parents? I would assume a lot of people are parents, right? So the kids come to us, I need this, and that. I don't have this. Okay, same idea. Okay, but how do we solve this? Because it's part of us, part of our duty as parents to not just tell what to do all the time, but to understand, make them understand the reasonings. Otherwise, they don't grow, right? They don't mature. I keep saying this, right? It's the same thing. The only thing is that we get paid to do this at work. And at home, we spend the money, right? But it's the same exercise. Selling idea at work is no different than me trying to convince my wife that we need to have a cheaper vacation. It's not that you're dropping the hammer. Right? I've seen people, well, you cannot come to an agreement. It's also the way you talk, right? I mean, we cannot come to an agreement. That's my way. But the way we talk as a leader is important. And people, again, don't spend the time, right? And again, normally things come together. The person that does not spend the time making the case to convince is the same one that goes quick, go to the coffee machine and go to the beautiful corner office to be on the phone. Isn't it right? It's a pattern.
Rafael moves on to the presentation slide titled Personal Growth and Development.
Right, but we talked before. I do this when I'm a supervisor, then I get to a lead position, and I get better and better and better, and then I realize I don't need to learn anymore. That's a big mistake, right? So for us to be able to take the best out of our team and take the best out of the people, we need to improve ourselves all the time. Isn't this what you're doing here? And likely you're going to finish this. Hopefully you're going to do well. A couple of years, you might consider coming back, right? Because you need to modernize yourself. You need to keep up. So look at this. I like this a lot because I say it a lot, right? Let's read it. Unless you are in the museum business, the past is not the main attraction. This is just somebody that speaks English better than me because I asked to polish, right? Because the way I say it at work is that, guys, look, we are not, what is the only business that does, that makes money out of the past? Horrible English. But the message is museums, right? Anything else, you need to look forward. So again, past successes don't buy a ticket for the future. They don't guarantee you're going to be successful again and again and again, right? Very unlikely because the context will change and it's going to get more demanding. So we have to make sure that we keep ourselves updated. You are in charge. The message is that don't be a victim when you're selling a project. Don't be a victim when you're taking care of your career. Yeah, my buddy is there on the barbecue. They all promoted. I'm here. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong company, right? Complaining, right? To your point, complaining is all the same profile, right? You need to be alert, right? Maybe the others are being promoted because you're stuck. You're not doing anything. Maybe the others are being promoted because they own their career and you're there expecting somebody to take care of you. And the last part is that, again, you are in charge. Right? If you do that for yourself as an individual contributor, likely, and you're solid, likely you're going to end up leading. And if you do the same and you help your people to understand the same idea, I'm here to facilitate. I'm not your dad, right? I will give you challenges. But you tell me the challenge you want to go. Most of the jobs that I had, I didn't have because I'm 6'5" and muscular. If you didn't realize yet. I raised my hand, sometimes in a naive way, right? But I said, I remember when I was at Siemens, I don't like to say it, but I was the youngest manager at Siemens in Brazil, because irresponsibly, I raised my hand and said, I want to be the quality manager of the site of 2,000 people, tier 3 automotive. I didn't have a clue. Don't ask me why. They call Germany, blah, blah, blah. It's a small division of the Siemens back in the day. I said, okay, let's do it. 29. I quit three years later, right? Because, I was traveling all over the place. I had Laura, right? First year of Laura, right? Vanessa was there taking care of Laura, still in Brazil. And I just didn't see the first year of Laura. Something that I learned, okay, what is the right moment? Was I prudent, right? I was probably irresponsible. I did well in the job. I did very well in the job, but costed me, right? Because to bond with Laura, which now we're super close, took a lot longer than my bond with Sophia, who was born in Tampa. And I was traveling a lot back then. And I told my boss, no. I'm not going to make the same mistake again. I'm a little bit off track, but not necessarily, because it's on taking care of myself. So I said, no. I learned from the first year from Laura. And I'm not going to do the same thing with Sophia. And we bonded faster. And then eventually I caught up with Laura, right? But this thing is because I could just play victim and say, yeah, I didn't bond with Laura because this freaking company. I was traveling all over the place. Make your mind, right? Own your career. Be serious. What if they don't give you what you want, Rafa? Well, maybe I need to go somewhere else, because that's another thing that probably not for today, or maybe yes. The same, the conversation about work-life balance, right? I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's all one thing. It's a big, fluid situation. If I'm not good at work, I suck at home, right? Because I come and kick the dog, and Vanessa wants to talk to me and say, oh, let me go to my office, and I need to decompress, right? And then Laura comes, let me talk about something that I did at work later. But that's not nice. Spend 9 hours, 10 hours at work. They want your attention, and you decompress in your office alone. So same way. I'm there. Vanessa's not happy with me, which doesn't happen often, right? And then I go to work and I'm saying, what did I do wrong? I mean, I love her, so I need to make it up for her. And then I don't concentrate. So it's all one, right? So you better be in the proper place, because your family is your choice. But guess what? Your professional career is yours too.
At this point, Rafael switches to his final slide to cover the key takeaways from his talk.
If I could be a king for a moment, right? I could brainwash you for a while. I would like you to leave with 3 things. But if you cannot do it, I will give you just the one that I would like you to leave with, right? These are the takeaways. The greatest challenge out there is people. Again, we are technicians. You're not here because you're not smart, right? You can go back to the books and learn everything. But people are complicated. We are complicated, not the other guys. All of us are complicated. We need, as leaders, to have empathy. Everybody has a bad day. That's another thing that is important. People fail. What if that was a situation at home, right? We gotta be understanding. We have to be able to have empathy, right? This goes a long way as well. But long story short, if you don't pay attention on your team, first make sure you pay attention on yourself. Don't neglect yourself. It's your career, it's your life. If you can do that, next step is making sure that you do this to your team. Because if you do that, then things will work better, because then the relationship is going to go better. Things will be open. You're not going to be surprised. People knock on your door and say, can I talk to you? Close the door, look at you. There's a situation a few months ago. There's a guy that was not performing well. We had a conversation. I saw the tear on his eye. I said, listen, in my office is all glass, right? And everybody's there. And say, looking at me, cry. Nobody's, I know you're not going to get out of here and cry in front of people. Cry now. Cry, look at me. This is a safe place. Nobody knows what we are talking about. Cry, I get out, get water, you drink water, your eyes get better, and you leave. You got to do that, right? If you pay attention to people, things will be a lot easier, right? Second, choose leadership for the right reasons. If you can remember just one thing, please remember just this. If you're in a moment that you need to make a decision, decide for the right reason. Yes, it is, Rafa, but don't be stupid. Leaders make more. Yeah, most of the companies. This whole idea that is like 20 years old from HR about the Y career, some point in time you go technical, another one you go managerial. It's the Y is like this, right? The managerial career, you're going to end up with making more. But again, right, I think I've been in jobs myself that I wish I was going back to an individual contributor because I was not enjoying and my life was miserable. So I don't know if the money was worth it. We got to be very careful of that, right? And there are some places where you're going to make some good money being an individual contributor, but you need to find those. That is so important because most of the leaders, if not all, those that I mentioned to you that like the car, that like the corner office and blah, 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 chose the leadership for the wrong reason. And we can see it. They cannot fake it. We can smell it from a distance, right? And those are the guys that in my particular case, I want to get out of their teams very quick, but I don't want to be like them. So we got to be that's probably the second most important decision in our lives after the person you're going to get married, in my opinion. If you make that one wrong, you can fix it, right? But it's complicated, right? The job is not as complicated. You can move, but it's not that simple, right? But that is the one that, please, if you want to pick one to remember, pick this one. The last one, that if you have room in your hard drive, right, keep that one in mind as well. To your point, you said this a few times, and you're absolutely right. Stay humble, careful, right? Yeah, we're getting better. We're smart. Things are working. I'm above expectations all the time, and then my ego starts getting too big. That's recipe for failure. That's recipe for problems, right? Stay very humble. Pay attention on what's going on outside, right? Adapt. No internet. No AI. If we don't do anything about it, right, we're going to be demolished, right? You have to keep yourself updated and adapt to the situation. And if you can do this, most of us will do it for, 35 years. And you can have fun along the way, awesome. Because I think that's the goal.
Thank you for listening in to today's episode. Tech Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management. To learn more, visit metm.tamu.edu.